Hey everyone, how's it going for everyone? Thank you for joining me again. And this today is going to be it's going to be a short one, I think. Up until like 10 minutes ago, I was still dealing with a problem that I'm going to discuss in just a second, just so that you are aware of some issues with the documentation regarding to testing, info lists, and actions. But we'll get to that in a moment. And since that held me back a little bit, I just have a few tests that I want to take care of, and also an update on last week. I mentioned that I was going to try to switch from the video player that we have right now, which is the Vimeo embedded player, to a different one. But upon reading the documentation, I decided that it may have been... The thing is, that component, the player component, it's currently being mixed up into another library. I think, I don't remember the name, but it's another video player that is more tailored to React JS. So it's kind of merging into that. So, and that other component does not have Vimeo nor YouTube integration, at least not now. So I decided that I'm gonna hold back on making any changes to the video player, since as of now it just works. So that's not gonna happen then. What I want to do now today is just I want to add an action button to the show course page, just so that we can move from the course details into the actual watch episode page. The problem is we're not going to be able to test that, and I'll show you why. And then I just want to introduce the concept of course tags, just so that I want to show like what kind of subjects the course covers, and we can do that with tags, like tagging a course with Livewire or Laravel or Vue.js or something like that. Just show show some of the, or all of the tags that are associated with a course. This is going to be just a model test, just to make sure that a course model can have tags. That's going to be like a many-to-many relationship. I also want to see if I have time to at least create the test case and have it pass for a course list, which is not going to be protected right now, but it is going to be a filament table. And later on, I don't think we're going to get to this, but I do want to introduce the list of courses for a user. So it shows only the courses that a user owns. So yeah, this is going to be a short one, I think. Let's head into the code and start with the action. So if we open the show course component, we can define a set of actions for info list. I think up until a recent update, you could only assign components or actions to info list component entries. So you could add an action to a text entry, or all of the text entries, or at least some of the components or the entries from info list, you could add actions to them. And let's take a look at the documentation just to show you what I mean. Get started. Also, where's the chat? Hi Bugar, how you doing? Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat. And Jefferson, I see you from Panama City. Hey, hi. I don't think we've had anyone from Panama City so far. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, thank you. Jefferson and Bugar, perfect. So yeah, if we go to the info list builder here, and then navigate to actions. So you can technically assign actions to info list components. Now, the first issue that I have with this is this kind of snippet doesn't help me at all. I mean, I would prefer if you would show me the action within the info list definition, not just the action itself, because as it is right now, if I see this, I wouldn't know. I actually don't know where to put this action. I mean, I do know, but it took me a while to figure it out. So just showing the action and how do you define it, it's fine, but it does not work in context. So later on, they tell you that you can add a suffix action or an affix action to an entry. And that makes sense. You can just add a suffix action method to a text entry, for example, and then add an action to it. So that gives me context on where can I create an action. But that doesn't help me because I would like to have an action that is not tied to a text entry or any other component. So this doesn't work for me. But then I keep reading, and then we get to the anonymous actions. And you can add anonymous actions to an info list without having to tie those actions to a component. Perfect, because I want to have a button shown somewhere in the page that can be a redirect to the watch episode. So all you have to do is use actions make. And again, my issue, lack of context, but you can add this actions make and then pass an array of the actions that you want. And it's supposed to look like this. This is what I want. Okay, perfect. Problem is, how do I test it? And in fact, let's just add it and then try to test it and you'll see what the problem is. So I believe, so in the show course, we have the info list method, and we have a schema, then we have the first section, which is the top one that shows the title, the tagline, the instructor, and then a field set with how many episodes, how long is the course, and when was it created. Now I want my button to be just below that. So I'm going to add, in fact, I have it here. Perfect. Why do I have it here? Maybe yeah. Interesting. Anyway. So yeah, as you can see, I added this components actions, info list components actions, make, and then pass an info list components actions action. And I set the label to start watching. I make this a button. I change the icon. And then for the action itself, I inject the course record so that I can do a redirect to this route and then pass that course, which is fine. So let's try this out. I'm gonna open PHP artisan serve to launch a dev server. And I also need a vdet server, so run dev. Now in the browser, let's navigate to localhost 800 courses 1. And there you have it. There is the button. Awesome. And in fact, if I click the button, it's going to take me to the login page because right now the route is protected and I can't see it since I'm not logged into the system and I don't have a user. But if I click on it, it's going to try to take me to, I disabled this. Okay, so pretty much all the test code that I was working on is here. That's fine. So what I did to test this out is I disabled all of the authentication and authorization and all of the policies, so just so that I can see this page without being logged in. So don't worry about that part. So that button works, right? I can be here and then redirected to the watch episode. But we are doing testing, so I want to test this. I would like to be able to say, whenever this action is called, I want to assert that I get redirected to that page. So normally what I would do is open show course test and then add a test case that looks like this. First of all, I created a test case just to make sure that I can see that button and that works. If I run this, that passes, no problem. So I just create a course and I mount the course and then I just assert see the text or the label of the button. No problem. Now I want to redirect. I want to assert that I can do a redirection as well. So I do the same thing. Mount the course for an instructor. It has one episode. I create that. Then I mount the show course component as I always do. And then in the documentation, in the testing part, they show you this. So if you go to testing and you test actions, they tell you that you can test an action using call InfoList action. So basically you mount the component and then call the action or the InfoList action. But here is the catch. You can only use this method with the first parameter being the component that the action is attached to, a text entry, for example. And I could not, for the life of me, find any way to test anonymous actions. It just doesn't work. The action needs to be attached to a component in order for you to be able to test it. So I spent the last 2 hours scouting the documentation, see if I was missing something. And honestly, I don't know. I couldn't find any solution. This is the name of the component that the action is attached to. This is the name of the action, the one that you pass in the action make. And then this is the name of the info list, which is, in our case, is the name of the method that we call to get the info list. So course info list. So those last two I have, but the component I don't. There is no way to pass null. There is no way to test an action that is not attached to a component, basically. So I can have the action works, it's fine, but as of now I cannot test it. If you find any way to do that, to test an info list action that is not attached to a component, that is an anonymous action, please let me know in the comments, because honestly I am lost in that part. So after that small rant, so we have the course details. The only thing that I want to make sure is that if the user owns the course, then it should not be start watching, it should be continue watching. So let's add a test for that. I'm going to copy this once it's going to be very similar. Oh, just to show you the error, by the way. If I try to run this as it is with the call is action, this obviously, let's just say action. It doesn't exist. I don't have a component. So if I run that as is, what I get is this error. Basically, it's trying to run get key, which is a method of a component or an info list component. And it's trying to do it in this error message saying that fail asserting that an info list action with the name, and that'll be the pretty name, which is in our case watch, the action name is registered to a component get key. So this is where it fails, because component, again, this is an anonymous action. There is no component. So just to avoid any errors, I'm going to comment that whole thing. So add another one, show the continue watching action. So in this case, I need a course, but I also need a user. And then I do user courses attach, just so that the course belongs to this user. And if that's the case, then they should read continue watching. Of course, that makes the assumption that the user has at least watched or started watching has started watching at least one episode. But for now, I'm just going to make it so that if the user owns the course, then the label changes. We can add more conditions later. For example, that reminds me that last week we forgot to make sure that when we move on from one episode to another, when we finish watching an episode, we should mark that episode as watched, and we didn't do that last week. And yeah, we can do that after this. Then I'll have to enable everything back, which is not a problem. So this is going to fail. So in order for this to work, we need to protect the route, because I'm going to need the user from the session. So let's go back to web.php and check something. Never mind. So let's open web.php for the routes. And this one's currently commented out. I'm going to undo that just so that the episodes page is also protected. And then I'm going to also protect the course page. That's one, but I'm actually doing this without running the test. I did. So yeah, never mind. So yeah, this one's protected now. So the errors should change. In fact, let's change this to acting as, just so that I'm actually logged in. So in that case, the error should remain the same. And it does. So I'm logged in, I'm watching a course that I own, but the label still hasn't changed. So we go to back, show course, and what we can do is in the action here, this probably takes in a closure, and it does. So instead of just showing this, let's actually use shorthand function. Let's inject the course as well. And we can say if record courses, no, we need the user. So out user, that'll give us the logged in user, and this user has a courses relationship. That'll be an array, and then we can say find record. So this will be true if the current course is among the user courses. And if that's the case, then we return continue watching. Otherwise, we say start watching. This is column. Save that and run the test. Still no? How's that? Not fine, sorry, contains. Still nothing, okay. Oh, you have to actually type correctly. Okay, now it's passing. Cool. All right, so the label changes depending on whether the user owns the course or not. So this is done. Let's take care of this one from last week. So for that, I did make some changes that I'm going to undo right now. For example, if I'm not mistaken, one was in the route, which was not protected. And then the second one should be on watch episode. I commented this line, authorize. So we need the authorization, and also in the course policy, should take it back to this. So that should take care of things. Let's make sure that everything, because I've been doing some updates back and forth, so let's just make sure that everything is still running as expected. So run all of the tests, see if there are any errors before moving on. A few, okay. Show course test, it renders the, yeah, probably because I just protected that route, so all of these are not using any logged in user. So let's fix that real quick. Show course test. I'm going to copy this setting here for the user, and I'm going to paste that here and here. Oh, wait. Paste that here and here. Here too. Pretty much all the tests. And then right here, I'm going to create a few cursors. This one here, 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 and that's it. So here I have to say acting as user. Okay, review, everything looks good. Let's try this again. Still have one that is not working. Actually, two. First one is in show course test. It shows the start watching action. So that I broke that one with this one. How so? Ah, right, because I need to not be logged in on that one. Doi. Before each is nice in PES to slim down tests. Hi, by the way. Hi, Will. So yeah, I'm probably gonna spend some time off camera. I don't want to bore you with that. Trying to slim the tests down. Problem is that they seem to be there's got to be a way for me to slim them down. I'm not too worried about it right now, but yeah, definitely I need to find a way to reduce code repetition. What is the test? Show the continue. No, the start. This one I do not need to be logged in. Problem with route test. Which one? Why are you still failing? Sorry. Start watching action. Okay. So this could be null. So we're not logged in. This will return null. And so we can access courses on that. Good. Now there was another one. I think it's a route test. Yeah, it has a route probably because, yeah, it's protected and I haven't done the protection there. Haven't logged in on that one. So let's open route tests. Just gonna create a factory right there. I don't need the course to belong to the user in this case. There is no authorization happening. I just need to know that the course, that I can access the route. And I can, okay. Last check. Acting as is a good candidate. Yeah, but what happens if I do before each? Is there a way to skip the before each on specific tests? Because there are tests on the same test file. There are cases where I don't need a logged in user, for example. I need to skip the logging on specific tests. I haven't checked if I can create a before each, but omit that in a specific test. I think there is a way. just, I think now that I mention it, it kind of sparks my memory a bit. All right, 50 passed, we are good. Let's work on the mark episode as watched. Close a few things. Let's call it it. I think I have the definition in here. Marked episode as watched after the video ends. I'm gonna grab a definition from a previous test. This should be fine. So I create a course for an instructor, has 2 episodes. Don't really need 2 episodes. Can just create 1. Also, I don't need to worry about the state in this case. So just like that. So it has an episode. Then we have a user, and that user is the owner of the course. All powerful, all good. Now I mount that, watch episode. Assert OK. I don't need to assert that I can see that. That's already tested. Then I dispatch the episode ended with get route key. Yeah, that's fine. It's going to stay in the same episode. So what I want to assert is that let's see if this, I saw this on a tweet today. Basically, you can't, if you're doing this kind of testing, like with test, you can only do certain kind of tests. Like you can't do expectations. But if you change this method, I think that gives you back the test case class. I'm on mobile, so typing is kind of mad, but if you set a property in before each, you can get this to null in each test when you don't want to be logged in, if that makes sense. Kinda. Yeah, you can, if I'm understanding correctly, you set a property in the before each for the current test case, and then you set that to null on each of the tests. So like setting a user, and then on certain tests, I set that user back to null instead of being the actual user. That's a good approach. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw it in the documentation. There is some sort of a chain method that you can attach to the end of the test. Something like maybe skip or something like that. I don't remember the name. But some method that you can use to not use the setup. I might be mistaken. My memory is a little bit foggy, but if that doesn't exist, then yeah, that's a good approach. So here I would expect user watch episodes to have count 1. I don't know if that's going to work. Let's try it out. Also, I should do another expectation up here on the same. Oh, that's tricky. Okay. So all I'm doing here is I'm making sure that before mounting and dispatching this event, that the user doesn't have any watched episodes. This is an array. Sorry, this is a collection, a relationship that returns a collection. So that should be 0 in the start. And then I log in as a user, dispatch the event, get back the test case, and then run the expectation again. And this time that should be 1. Let's see if that works. Yeah, maybe it's in a newer version. Back to the good old expect. Okay, I think that's the error that I wanted. So first assertion passes, but the second one is expecting it's expecting a 1, but it's still 0, meaning that we are not updating this relationship. So let's go ahead and do that. Go to watch episode. And let's go down to on episode ended, and here we are moving to the next episode. But before that, let's do auth user watched episodes attach. Is it attached? Yeah, it's many to many. Attach the current episode. That didn't work. Why? Let me go to the user test real quick. I'm pretty sure I already tested this. Has many watched episodes. User course. Yeah, that should work. What's going on? This still works. Oh, wait. I think it's because this, I need to refresh the relationship. So user load, I think. Watched episodes. Let's try that again. If the user were to go back and watch the episode again, you'd watch the same episode potentially multiple times or not. That's a good point. Although in a many-to-many relationship, well, I don't know. We can test it. Sync without attaching. Is that a method in Laravel? Let me look for it. Hold on. Let me just make sure that this works. And then I'll make sure that, let's add another test, making sure that you can only watch an episode once. So if you watch it twice, then the count should stay at 1. First, let's make sure that this passes. And it does. Perfect. Okay. Let's add another test to try out your theory. Only once. So let's do this. Let's have this episode extracted. Like this. No, not really. So what's going to happen is if I dispatch this multiple times, what's going to happen? That's interesting. So let me dispatch this twice. So on the first dispatch, since there's only one episode in the course, then there is another test that is saying if you are in the last episode and you finish watching that, you stay in the last episode. So this fires, you stay on the last episode and then fires again. Then in that case, these should stay at 1. Let's see if that's true. Good catch. Good catch. So now let me look for sync without attaching. You know what? Why don't we just in watch episode? Why don't we do this? If not, let's actually bring this user out of here. How about that? I usually don't like using the negatives, but in this case, I think it applies because I still have to do something afterwards. So basically, I'm just saying, give me the user of the session, check if the watch episodes collection contains that episode. If it doesn't contain the episode, that means that you have not watched it, then attach it to the list of watched episodes. Otherwise, move on. Run previous. Doesn't work. How come? I was so sure that was going to happen. And the sync without looks cleaner in my opinion. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to do that, to be honest. Let's try it out. I haven't used it though, so I'm gonna have to look for it. Sync without. You may also use the sync method to construct many-to-many associations. If you do not want to detach existing IDs. Let's try this. Let's comment this out. So user watch episodes. Sync. Jeez. So that's going to be an array. Let's just do episode get key. Okay, let's give that a try. And you're right, it looks cleaner. And it actually works. All right. So that's taken care of. Let's just take care of this one for now. This will be the last one. This is a simple model test just to introduce the concept of tags, and we'll end it up there. We'll end it there. PHP artisan best test. Let's call this. Is there a test for this, by the way? No, just for episode, nothing for course. Oh, there was a test. Never mind. I already had a test file. What is this? This is in the wrong place. Let me move it to here. That's better. So as far as course goes, belongs to an instructor, has many episodes, has episode count, has the course length. Let's add one more. It has many tags. We set up a course for user, has an instructor, has an episode. I don't need this. Has many episodes. I just need one. Create that. And then expect course tags to be an instance of a collection. I should have made the tag here. Has tag class. This does not tag factory. Let's say just 3. Okay. Class tag not found. PHP artisan make model tag with factory and migration. Import the tag model here and run it again. Call to undefined method course tag. Oh. Tags, please. Okay, that's the method that I want to create. So let's open the course model. Down here, let's add, not here, here. Okay. Now we need a table. Wrong kind of relationship. It's not has many, it belongs to many. Okay, now we need the pivot table, course tag, PHP artisan, make migration, create course tag table. Okay, now we need the foreign IDs in the pivot table. Let's add them both. Table foreign ID 4, and this is for course class. And one more for episode. No, tag, sorry. Good. Okay. I said it was going to be a quick one, but we are already almost at the hour. So it was a productive session either way. Thank you so much for joining me. A quick update. There is not going to be, I'm going to be traveling starting tomorrow. So Saturday, there is no stream at night. There is a new video in the morning, so stay tuned for that and subscribe so you don't miss it. And next week, no stream on Wednesday nor Saturday. I'll be back on two Wednesdays from now. Back with this session on a couple of weeks. So again, if you found any of this helpful, don't forget to leave a like. It really helps, and subscribe to the channel as well. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.